Well, hello again. It's Uncle Hugh with more Finding the Promises of God in the Bible. We have seen that many of the promises have to be pointed out to us by other people, or maybe we just stumble on them and happen to notice them. God illuminates them. No matter how we find out about the promises, we know that God speaks to our heart, that we know, oh, this is a promise for me. For me, when I read the Bible, I think it's written for me and to me, and it's about me. And some of the promises are obvious. They're obviously promises for the people of God. Some of them not quite so obvious. And today we're going to look at how we can discover some of these. I'm going to use Psalm 23 to illustrate. That's one of my favorite with the promises of God. They have to be illuminated by God. So in Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd. That's a statement of fact. I consider that my statement. I own that. And therefore I own the result. I shall not want. Now I realize that the rest of the psalm is all ways in which God meets my needs and my desires, my wants. If I look at verse 5, it says, He has prepared a table before me. This is a statement. Well, David made the statement, but it's a statement that I will make. I will be bold to make it. I own that. I own that song. I own that statement. He has prepared a table before me. Now that table is a banquet table, a fantastic feast. The King of Kings has prepared it. I can see that table, but what is the situation and the position of that table? Well, the position is, it's in front of me, before me, in the presence of my enemies. Oh, so there's the table. There are my enemies. And the table, my enemies. The table, banquet table with a king, is between me and my enemies. Wow. Now I realize that the king never travels alone, and he does not prepare the table for himself. He always has an entourage of bodyguards and servants, and so there's a lot of people, a lot of stuff. It's not just a table sitting there alone. And there's the king sitting there with an empty chair, inviting me to come join him. That's what I can see in my mind. Seeing the unseen, but I can see that table. Now, I have a choice. I can focus on the king, and I can go and sit with him and dine with him. Or I can pay attention to my enemies. If I pay attention to my enemies, I'm going to be afraid of them and probably run. So the question I ask groups, and I ask you, what will the enemy do if I turn and run from them in fear? Well, most groups agree that they will just chase me down and do whatever they want with me. But if I pay attention to the king and go sit at the table with the king, not paying any attention to the enemies, most groups agree that they will kind of slink home ashamed. They will not be bold enough to try to attack me when I am the king's friend with the king. One group, I think they were trying to be funny, said that they would come sit at the table with us. Well, that's what we really want as Christians, isn't it? A table before me. For me, that's a promise in the Bible. So we can look for these promises and let God illuminate them for us. Every person will be different. We are all unique. But every person will have promises. Every person will find their promises in a little bit different way. But all the promises will be pointed out, illuminated by God to them. We'll continue with more examples of finding the promises in the Scriptures next time. God bless you all.